Hi. So I made a math game and you can do simple additions in this game. 1 plus 3, 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. And 20 plus 5 is 25. Now, at first glance, this may seem, pretty simple, pretty basic. And it is pretty simple and it is pretty basic. But here I'm not using many if statements. I'm not using a linear logic. As you can see, I'm using object-oriented programming, which is a good practice of programming and is actually how you meant to program. See, in here, let's read our main. Usually, if you are a starter, you're not likely to use very linear logic. Say, the computer starts, right? And you want the computer to print out something many times. You literally enter the same cout function many times. But if you are experienced, you can use a little trick, such as creating a function and using object-oriented programming to call this function many times and do different things. This may sound complicated, but I'll explain. Right. So let's go down to the main. In our main, we have called three different objects, and using the three different objects, we have called a function called setValues 3 times, and a function called askQuestion 3 times. Now, despite that the same name, each time I call them, they're actually doing different stuff. Well, same stuff to different things. So let's start running the program and see what it does. Set values 1, 3, 4. What these three numbers mean is 1 is the first number in this calculation, 3 is the second number, and 4 is the correct answer. Same thing applies to these two down here. And you can see from the function up here in set values, all I did is simply making integer 1 equal to n1, integer 2 equal to n2, and correct answer equal to C8. That's a simple function, but it saves us a lot of work than if we don't do it this way. And ask question does another thing. Think about it like this. Set values lets the computer know what the values are and what the correct answer is. Whereas ask question presents the users with the questions, and it lets the user enter a number so the computer can know if the user had got it right. Cout number 1 and number 2 and swing guess. What this is doing is printing the number out and letting the user guess. If guess is correct answer, which we have inputted up here, the computer will print out you got it right, and else you got it wrong. If I enter 3 here, the computer will enter you got it wrong. And you shouldn't do that, 1 plus 3 is pretty simple. So let's show the real benefit of object-oriented programming. I said it's really easy to make changes. And it's also really easy to add something. Say if I want to add another calculation to this program. All I have to do is create another object called Q4. They can't be the same name. And using this object, I can call the same function another time. Because I have created the function under the question class, any object from the question class can call the ask question. But if I create another class, and create an object belong to that class, that wouldn't be able to call the function from this class. But forget about that. That's not very important. Set values And how about this time we do 32 plus 2 is 34, not 24. Now the computer knows we just have to print it out on the screen. Ask question. And that's pretty good. Okay, first one is 1 plus 3, 4, 9, 25, and 34. Ah, 34. And I got them all right. And as you can see, if I want to add new stuff to it, all I have to do is copy and paste these 3 lines and change the numbers a bit. And I also said another advantage of object-oriented programming is you can make changes really easily. Say if I want to make a score that the user can see so they know how many questions they got right. All I have to do is adding a few lines under ask question. First I have to create an integer. Let's name this score. And under the ask question, we say if the guess is correct, score equals score plus 1. Yep. And at the end, since we want to print out the score only once, so the user at the end, we just have to do it in the main. We don't have to, make functions and make complicated functions for it. See out score is your score. Yep. Let's see. Uh-oh. Misspelled it. Score. There we go. Score. Score. There we go. I need to use Grammarly. And that looks all right. So now, if I purposely mess up the first question, 25 and 34, the computer will print out 3 is a score. And likewise, if I get them all right, the computer will print out 4 is a score. If I get them all wrong, the computer will say 0 is a score. And that would be pretty sad. And I believe now you have seen the advantages of object-oriented programming. It's in C++, it's also in many other programming languages. This practice of programming is easy because you can add stuff really easily, you can change your functions really easily without messing up a lot of other stuff too. Because all you're doing is pretty much breaking things up into small machines, and you are somehow arranging this machine into a program. And at the end, all I want to say is have a good day and see you next week.